Today's show is brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbook. You know, America's top-rated sports booking app. Deke, not only is it safe, but it is secure, and you better believe it is reliable. And for all the first-time users out there, because everybody was a first at one point in their life, if you use the promo code MOATS, you'll receive up to $1,000 in deposit bonus money. It's an awesome concept. You definitely want to check that out. But more importantly, make sure you use that promo code. And Deke, you know, every once in a while,
people go overboard, huh?
They don't have self-control.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Deke, when people start to lose that self-control, man, something happens.
What's that?
You got to talk to them a little bit. You got to tell them, if you know somebody who has a gambling problem, you better call 1-800-GAMBLER. I say, if you know somebody that has a gambling problem, or they need crisis counseling, you better tell them to call 1-800-GAMBLER. Talk quickly, you know, a little UFC 270, baby.
Yeah, I'd like to get your perspective, because I actually watched this. Went over to my cousin's house, who ordered the fight, because we were watching the Packers 49ers game, and we were just all drinking, hanging out, and turned on the fights, and it was actually perfect timing, because that game ended, and then the third fight was, or the, what would you say, the third to last fight was just ending.
Not the co-main, but the...
Right.
Yeah.
And then Moreno and Figueiredo came on.
Yeah, man. But I'm glad you tuned in, man. Okay, your initial thoughts, did you like the fights?
Oh, yeah, they were great. They were really good fights. Okay. I usually like fights when I watch them. It's just, I don't get into the storylines or even listen or watch the coverage of UFC like that.
It's cool. Just call me a nerd without calling me a nerd.
I don't. No, I don't think it's a nerd. It's just never the fight games have never really been my thing. But every time I watch them, I think they're always entertaining.
I swear,
it's usually the big ones. It's whenever someone else pays for it, I'm watching it.
Yeah. I can't stand you, bro. But for me, I don't know what it is, man. Football and fighting, like those are two things. Like I'd get into like the junkie side of it. Like with basketball, I love to watch it, but I'm strictly
I haven't watched
like
one game.
But it's more like the fan part of it, where it's like when it's like football and fighting though. I was like, I want to learn like the details, the intimate stuff, the strategy and the thought process. So for me, man, especially watching the first one, the Brandon Moreno versus Davison Figueiredo, I loved that fight because number one, you got two high level guys, right? Great output, but champions, both of them in their own right. Both of them have won the belt and things like that. But it was good to just see the adjustments that were made from the first two fights for Davison compared to, you know, that third fight. I thought that he was more patient, just calculated and understood what he was doing in terms of not engaging that dude too much. Whereas Moreno, I didn't want to say it, but I thought he was a little too showboaty. I thought at times, man,
they both did it a little bit.
Yeah, but he was definitely the leader of the show.
They were cheering him on though. Well, they loved him there.
Yeah, but because the fight was in Anaheim and he's from
he's
really
from
close. Like Tijuana, that area.
He's from Mexico.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So he's Mexican. Yep. So anytime that's always going to be the case. Yeah.
Well, he said at the end, Figueiredo's like, we got to do a next one, and we're doing it down in Mexico.
Yeah. I'm like,
I guess he likes being the heel or something.
I'm like, Davidson, bro, you might not make it out of Mexico, bro. You go to there, fight him, and then beat him in there? No, bro. I don't know, bro. I don't know.
I think Moreno got snubbed, though.
I can understand, though. I can understand.
I thought he won. It was actually a really even match, I thought, though.
I like it as a draw, for real.
Yeah, I thought Figueiredo actually kind of screwed himself at the end going for that because I thought Moreno got some really good punches, and I was like, oh, wow, I think Moreno just won because before Figueiredo got aggressive, I thought it was pretty even. I thought they would maybe just give it to Moreno because he already had the belt. Yeah. But then they said unanimous decision that it was all on Figueiredo. I'm like, what?
Now, for me, the reason why I could understand them going unanimous for Figueiredo, I thought at the end, what was it? The end of the third? Is it either the end of the third where he had a little moment at the end where it's like, yo, he caught Moreno and remember he pushes him at the end. It's like, oh, like he low-key could have stopped it then if he had enough time, like, because he already had him in a situation. I think it was a guillotine he had put him in. So it's like, yo, things were looking good. So I thought up until that point, though, even though Moreno was more effective when he would land, I thought Davison as a whole was just the cleaner fighter. I thought that he was scoring more, and I thought that he wasn't...
His percentages on his hits was better.
Yes,
Moreno had more output, and quantity, but I think his ratio was off.
Yeah.
I think he had more hits in general just because of that, though.
Yeah, and you could see, and I think the biggest reason also with why people felt strongly more, or maybe could lean more towards Moreno, was because it's hard to feel like he lost the fight, but didn't get beat up. Because it was like, you would see Moreno, when Moreno would touch Davis, it was like, yo, is he about to like hurt him? He's about to knock him out?
Yeah.
But he just never did, and he never did it enough. So it's like, well, how could he win if he looked like that? And the other guy, like he was beating him up a little bit more. But to me, I just thought that Davison had did enough. Like I said, I liked his game a lot. I thought his approach was just better. And I know he switched camps, and I know that was a huge part of it, man. And like I said,
they were talking about him being more at control, or having self-control. Because usually he doesn't fight like that. Usually it's like how that end round was, where it's like just getting here and engage, because usually he's the bigger fighter. He punches hard as heck. That's what's such a surprise. And you heard the commentators like, bro, I mean, it's usually, Davison backing guys up, not him backing up and looking like he's the weaker of the two. But for a fact, you would watch Moreno touch him, and it's like, dude, like this is crazy right now. But I like how he implemented his wrestling too. And I thought that was another part of his game that he really didn't show in those first two fights, man. Just being calculated and understanding how to fight, how to be exciting, but also how to take a little bit less risk. Just try to win.
Yeah,
Out how to win.
Absolutely, man.
How about the big fight?
The big fight. That was the one, though, man. Francis Ngannou versus Cyril Gane.
He smoked him.
Bro, that was... I was surprised, though. Because remember we talked...
He was the underdog.
Yeah, he was the underdog. And largely because we didn't know that he had that in his bag. Up until that point, he was the one-punch knockout artist. Now, had he had won in different ways before, sure, but it was so long ago. And with Cyril, I mean, early on in the fight, you look how Cyril looked. Like, that's what we expected.
It was pretty even early on, yeah.
He could kick, he could punch. I do think that Cyril respected him too much, though. But I guess
he was getting too cute.
Yeah. In the sense of like, not even too cute, but too scared of getting knocked out. Where it's like, man, eventually you just got to say, bro, like, I felt some of his power. He can't hurt me. I got to go fight this fight. And I just never felt like he did that. And then by the time he should have done it, that's when Francis started implementing the wrestling and just grappling him and looking just.
You were surprised by that.
Yeah. And especially, maybe somebody slammed him.
Yeah.
Bro, that was filthy.
Well, he even got out of some stuff too.
Right. Some submission stuff where it's like, usually you don't think of Francis as a guy that's going to get out of leg locks, heel locks, arm bars, and things like that. Whereas for him, you saw he knew what he was doing. He was calm too. That's the other part, because typically when you watch these guys that never have that, they panic. You know what I mean? They'll get in those situations where it's like, all right, a guy grabs me, and if they don't have a lot of skill, if they're not black belt in some of the jiu-jitsu and some of the submission stuff, they'll start to do weird stuff. And you're like, no, don't turn this way. Don't turn that way. What are you doing?
Yourself over.
But for him, you saw he was calm, he was patient. He was walking the way he was supposed to walk in certain things, attacking certain parts of his body in terms of the wrist and things like that. I was like, yo, this is good. Like, you could just tell, like, he's growing and he's evolving. And that is very scary. Now, part of it could, and he was hurt. I saw Richard Stone put that in there as well with the ACL.
What?
Bro.
I heard that after. I was like, wait, did I hear this right?
Yes, bro. ACL and MCL. That's why he had the knee pads on, bro. But he's not, like, fighters do it a lot. And they say a lot of fighters, like, they're never, but this the thing, though. They say they're never 100% healthy because you get banged up in training for fighting and stuff like that. Like, even when McGregor for Nate Diaz, the first one, his knee was, he had just blood as a MCL. Yeah, like it happens a lot, bro. Shoot, when McGregor beat Dustin Poirier, McGregor had, I want to say he had a torn ACL. Then the first, like when they first fought, like a while ago, yeah, bro. Like it happens. Guys fight with broken hands. John Jones for Thiago. Oh my goodness, I'm drawing a blank on his last name.
I don't know how the ACL thing's possible.
Yeah,
how is that possible?
The one dude tore his ACL in the fight and still fought. Yeah, it's like it's nuts, bro.
Wait, how?
Yes, bro.
Can you explain that?
So
what is it with their movement that's different?
With the ACL, guys can walk with ACLs. You see guys walk on the field with ACL. You can even jog. Klay Thompson, remember, he tore his ACL in the finals. And what did he do? He jogged up and down the court, and it was, oh, he's good. The problem is laterally. That's the part. You don't have the stability, and you're just going to mess it up. So what Francis said was, Santos, that was his last name. Thank you, Bart Basquiat. But what Francis said was the doctors told him if he got hit in his knee or kicked, then it could have irreversible damage. Structurally, and that is the other risk with that. But what he said was he just couldn't switch stances, so he stayed with his right leg back the whole time. So even though most people are like, hey, switch stances, be more fluid, or you can even generate more power, that was part of the reason.
Wow.
Yeah, but these dudes be tough. But his thing is, a lot of times when fighters pull out of fights, it's because of injury. But fans at times They get on them about that. And for fighters, if they pull out, they don't get paid either. That's the other part. So you imagine you have a full training camp, you're away from your family, but now you can't fight. You don't get paid. It's not like football where, I didn't play this week, I still got my check. It's different for those dudes, man.
Well, two things. One, whenever I first saw Ngannou with the knee pads and they said, oh, he's never done this before, I wonder why. I was like, I'm out. He's going to lose.
Oh, it looks stink, bro. And he looks, it looked like I'm watching old school Chuck Liddell film, bro. I'm like, what is this, man?
Yeah, it did look like an old dude just coming back to like the park, just play some pickup hoops or something. It was weird. So I was out on that, but he proved me wrong. He was obviously awesome in that. But also, doesn't he hate the UFC?
Yeah.
We were talking about this the whole time. He doesn't. He feels like he doesn't get paid enough. Yeah. And will this be his last fight, you think?
More than likely right now. I was looking at it because Tyson Fury, he tweeted out and he was obviously like, yo, if you want to make some money, like I'm the one that you want to come holler at. But yeah, it's because of the whole UFC structure. The pay, put context.
He could sign another contract with the UFC.
He could,
though, right?
yes. But he's a free agent right now, technically. But technically still has the belt too. So he has all options on the table. But to put it in context, he made, I think it was like $600,000 for that title fight.
Jeez.
Cyril Gane made $500,000. Tyson Fury made $30 million in his fight against Deontay Wilder. Now, granted, it was a trilogy fight, but you just think context. Like that first fight between Wilder and Fury, they still both cleared double-digit M's. This is the heavyweight champ of the world. In UFC, one of the hardest combat sports. Like, I respect the heavyweight champ in UFC more than the heavyweight champ in boxing because boxing is one-dimensional.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, that man getting $600,000 for that, maybe some pay-per-view points, like that, to me, that is a disservice, and that is largely why he is so frustrated with the promotion.
Understood. Yeah. Part of it too, though, you got to say UFC helped him build a name a little bit.
Yeah.
But there is always a time where you outgrow that type of stuff.
Absolutely.